All right, thank you for joining us. Our sincerest apologies for our technical difficulties, but welcome to our Futures for Frontliners presentation today. My name is Jason Schuler. I'm the Assistant Director of Enrollment for the Grand Rapids Community College, and I'm also joined by Ann Isaacson, our Associate Dean of Enrollment Management for the college. Today we have a short video to start with, and then we'll follow with our presentation.
Been at the front lines as an essential worker during the pandemic, attending college at GRCC could be totally free for you. Futures for Frontliners is a state scholarship giving free tuition to get an associate degree or certificate. If you worked in healthcare and public health, food and agriculture, public safety, critical manufacturing, or any of the 15 identified industries, you could qualify for free college. Bump up your earning potential in a current or future career with an associate degree or certificate. Or start here at GRCC and transfer to a four-year college having zero debt. There are 3 simple steps. Apply for the Futures for Frontliners Scholarship, apply to GRCC, and complete the FAFSA. The deadline to apply for the scholarship is December 31st, 2020. To learn more, visit grcc.edu/futures for frontliners. You can also contact us by phone, email, or text. If you've been thinking about going to college, now is the right time, and GRCC, West Michigan's best choice, is the right place for you.
All right, thank you. Again, welcome, and thanks for joining us today. Welcome to our Future Frontliners presentation, and well, let's get started here. So who is eligible for this scholarship? This, again, is an opportunity for you to pursue a certificate associate's degree at Grand Rapids Community College, and we'll also want to thank you for all of your hard work during this pandemic and for keeping our state open and running. As we begin here, you can see who is eligible for our scholarship. The bullet points listed here: you have to be a Michigan resident, have earned a high school diploma or equivalent. Big key here is having to work in the essential industries at least part-time between April 1st and June 30th of this past year. The eligibility for the scholarship depends on your criteria for working in an essential field or industry, and you have to apply for the Frontliner Scholarship by December 31st at 11:59 p.m. So who is an essential industry and frontline workers? Again, you had to work outside of the home during the pandemic from April 1st to June 30th to be eligible for the scholarship. And here's our list of essential industry and frontline workers. Chemical chain supplies, so everything is listed by industry or by job sector. And we would hope that your eligibility meets one of these criteria to work and pursue the scholarship here. To see if you're eligible for the scholarship, I'd encourage you to jot this phone number down. If you have questions or you're curious about, hey, what I do over the last couple months, my work, would that make me eligible for the scholarship? We really encourage you to call our customer care center, and that number is listed up at the top. That's 517-636-7000. Again, this is also on the michigan.gov/Future for Frontliners website. And to see if you're eligible for it, again, we encourage you to check out that website, see if your job fits in one of these industries, and encourage you to call the number to see if you're eligible. So if you determine you're eligible for it, we hope that you do pursue the scholarship. And this is kind of your next steps for what you would do for one, maintaining eligibility for the scholarship, and also applying to GRCC and getting started with your education. Some of the criteria for it: you have to be enrolled at least part-time for 2 of the 3 semesters. We have a fall, winter, and spring semester here at GRCC. If you've taken any courses at another college and you have not earned your associate's or bachelor's degree yet, we would like you to send your transcripts to us, hoping we can give you credit for maybe some of your previously earned coursework and see if those classes transfer to GRCC. Of course, our enrollment center and admission staff is here to help with any questions you might have. So of course, you can get a hold of any of our staff here and help walk you through this process. But again, you don't have to go to school year round. Some students take the summer off, life comes up, but if you can enroll, you would be eligible for the scholarship by taking at least 6 credit hours for 2 of the 3 semesters here. So what do you have to do to get started? First of all, you want to complete the future scholarship application. Again, remember the deadline is December 31st at 11:59 p.m. You would apply to GRCC, fill in our application on our homepage, and then completing the FAFSA for the 2020-21 school year. Again, some numbers for you to write down to contact us with help, and again, more laid out of what our steps are. So you fill out the scholarship on the michigan.gov/Frontliners website. If you create an account for it, you can track the status of your scholarship application. Again, that customer care number with any questions you have about your application can be found on the Michigan website, 517-636-7000. So that's the future scholarship portion of it. To apply to GRCC, your other process in it, you would first apply. Again, the application is found on our homepage, grcc.edu. You would send us all of your high school and or college transcripts along with any test scores if you took the ACT or SAT. Once you receive those, we will help you determine what your next steps are if you need to take any of our placement tests. We are offering our placement tests on campus now. You can take them remotely from home. And of course, if you have any questions, we encourage you to call our enrollment center too at 616-234-3300. Step 3, completing the FAFSA, your free application for federal student aid. That website is on the top there at fafsa.gov. Once we receive your application, that takes about 2 to 3 weeks to process. So we certainly encourage you to get it done as soon as you can. Any additional documentation that we may request from you, we will let you know. We will communicate that with you through our financial aid office. Once we receive that, we will then process your application and award you any aid if you're eligible. Our enrollment center and financial aid office is currently open, so if you need any assistance with processing and filling out your FAFSA application, we can certainly help you in our office too. We also encourage you to call us if you have any questions or if there's anything we can help with. So what does the Future for Frontliners scholarship cover? If you live in the Kent Intermediate School District, your tuition and institutional fees are covered. That includes your student records fee, your technology fee, our facilities fee, and our campus activities fee. We do have some online course fees and course-specific fees that are not included in the scholarship that students would be responsible for. But again, if you live in Kent Intermediate School District, all of your tuition would be covered. If you live outside of the Kent Intermediate School District, a portion of your tuition still will be covered. You would essentially pay the difference between our out-of-district rate and our in-district rate. That is how much that costs. That comes down to the individual student based on how many classes you take. We will help you determine that once you apply to GRCC, we receive the scholarship, Futures for Frontliners scholarship, and your FAFSA information. So essentially, if you live in Kent Intermediate School District, your tuition's covered. If you're outside of it, we will let you know what the difference is that helps cover the cost for it. Of course, there are going to be some planned expenses that you want to keep in mind moving forward with your education here. Students would be responsible for books for your classes, any supplies that may be needed. You may want to think about a laptop or any technology needs that you may have or may need. If you need internet access at your home, consider that. Of course, the cost for transportation and driving down here to GRCC. A lot of our classes are online, but there could be some transportation costs that we want to keep in mind, and childcare if you do have kids in the home. So, a lot of times students will plan for their education, how much tuition costs, but sometimes there's other expenses that come up. We just want to make sure that you're mindful of those. Here's some contact information and text messages, other forms to get a hold of us if you do have any questions. Our Futures for Frontliners hotline, that's for GRCC. If you have any questions, I encourage you to jot this number down at 616-234-3344. We do have a specific webpage dedicated to the Futures for Frontliners at grcc.edu /Futures for Frontliners. You can email us as well at futuresforfrontliners@grcc.edu. If text is easier for you too, our text number is listed on the bottom there at 616-404-5519. Again, we really apologize for the technical issues and taking up some of your time earlier today. That's what happens when you combine a lot of technologies together, but we hope this brief presentation was helpful to get you started here. And again, we thank you very much for your service here over the last couple months and helping keeping our state open and safe. That concludes our presentation for today. I will turn it over to Ann Isaacson if she has any questions, if there are any questions that you have for the scholarship or anything that we can help you with.
Hi, everybody. I'll be scanning the YouTube chat just to see if there are any questions. I didn't see any a couple of moments ago, but we definitely want to try to connect with you on any questions you might have. This is a relatively new program, just rolled out in the last 2 weeks. So we're all learning a little bit. If we don't have the answers to your questions, I'll gladly go back to the state and find out for you, and I can connect back with you as well. So let me just switch back and see if I can see any questions in our chat. Okay, 2 questions that we've received. Just to confirm, the GRCC text number is 616-404-4519. Again, 616-404-4519. We know that bottom text might have been cut off for some folks. Another question that we had was related to whether online classes are covered, and yes, they are. It will cover, as Jason mentioned earlier, resident tuition and mandatory fees, or what we call institutional fees. So if you do take online courses, there will be some additional costs associated with online fees, but your tuition and all of your mandatory fees would be covered if you're a resident student. Jason, another question that came up was related to students that are currently GRCC students and they've been taking courses here for some time. Yes, as long as those students met Futures for Frontliners criteria in terms of eligibility, they would be able to receive Futures for Frontliners funding beginning in the winter semester as they continue to take their courses toward a certificate or associate degree. If a student has already previously earned an associate degree or bachelor's degree, however, those students would not be eligible for Futures for Frontliners funding. Two other questions have just come in. One question was, how long will it take to get the funding? It's our understanding that the funding will be available for the winter 2021 semester. The state is in the process of reviewing applications at this time and confirming wage and employment information with the state. And then we are told that we will be receiving rosters soon, which will let us know which students are eligible so that we can begin the awarding process. Let me check back to see if we've any additional. Okay, additional questions have come in. They pertain to what are eligible programs of study. So this program of study needs to be Pell Grant eligible. So that would cover all of GRCC's associate degree programs and the majority of our certificate programs. That would also include our job training programs, which are our 18 and 22-week short-term training programs. There are a few certificate programs that do not meet eligibility criteria at this time because they're not federally financial aid eligible. And those would include, I believe, the Sheriff's Academy. Let's see, there is a mechanical apprenticeship or a manufacturing apprenticeship program, I believe. So there are a few, but they typically are clearly indicated in our catalog whether they're financial aid eligible programs or not. The vast majority of our programs would be. If it is a non-credit program, those would not be. But again, our job training short-term programs are, all of our associate degrees, and the vast majority of our credit-bearing certificate programs as well. There was a question about our students who are currently attending and they are on health program waiting lists. There is a restriction with this scholarship that students would have to complete their degree or certificate within 4 years. So those students that are on the waiting list, if they've met all of their prerequisites and can get into the program and complete within that 4-year time period, they would be eligible. We do know that some of our healthcare wait lists are a bit long, so we would encourage students to talk with their advisor and faculty members about that to see in terms of planning whether a certificate or a degree could be completed within the time requirements. Okay, Jason, I'm not seeing additional questions out there in the chat. Maybe let's give it 1 or 2 more minutes to see if people want to post any additional questions.
Very good.
Okay, with no more questions, I think that at this point we'll conclude our presentation today. But I really do encourage all of you to reach out to us on the hotline, through our email, or through that text line that we shared earlier and that is currently up on the screen. We would be glad to talk with you about any specific questions that you might have, things that maybe you didn't want to ask in general chat. So we're here to connect with you, and we do try to respond back as quickly as possible. We will also be hosting some additional information sessions, which hopefully we won't have the same technical difficulties. Again, we really appreciate your patience in giving us a little time to get those technicalities worked out today. Thank you very much for your time. And Jason, thank you for presenting today.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.